Thank you very much for inviting us to present our work, Increasing User Trust in Mobility as a Service System. My name is Dr. Mitola, and it is joint work within Southampton, Know Now, and Immuta. So, okay, so just a bit about the background. So, UMIS investigates mechanisms for increasing user trust in mass systems for next generation transportation systems. So here we include things like ride share, bike share, train services, trams, tubes, underground, and and also future systems such as autonomous systems. And so a mobility as a service system is actually it's an exemplar IoT system. And so it does combine end users and those IoT plus the convenience, because for a great uptake of this of mass users, the actual system to be convenient enough for the passengers to actually use the system. So for that convenience to actually happen, users and also passengers need to trust the system. And so in terms of trust, when it comes to trust, in terms of the security plus the privacy, about the data privacy. So passengers need to trust that this data are being shared in a legal manner. So the partners here in the work include Southampton, Solent Transport, Know Now, and also Immuta. So I will now hand over to Immuta, Professor Sophie Stala Megudion, to tell us about Immuta and also UMIS. Over to you, Sophie.
Thank you, Topi. So briefly, Immuta is a universal cloud data access control platform that provides one platform to automate access control for reclaim any data or any cloud service across all compute infrastructure. So it's a standalone policy layer that is sitting on top of the storage and the compute layer within the cloud environment, and which aims to build a data governance layer to try to facilitate and support reuse of the data and also exchange of data, sharing of data between multi-parties. And so we promote data protection through data minimization, data identification, unlinkability, and so on. And we try to guarantee also a very high degree of observability. And so we are working with the UMIS team to try to understand requirements for multi-party data sharing, to try to build a data governance structure and framework that will underpin the exchange of data between multi-parties in that sector, and try to understand workflows and requirements for the exchange of data and metadata, because both potentially should be regulated. So this is a big picture. Very happy to discuss further in more details some of the use cases and how we're thinking of building the data governance framework. But the idea is to create an agile policy layer, which will apply the policy on the data on the fly and will reduce data movement between the parties. And that's it for me. Toby, I think you are muted.
Yeah, I'm muted, yes. So thank you so much, Sophie. Thank you. And the next person I would like to talk, asked to speak is Dr. Goma, Dr. Richard Goma. he is part of Know Now, one of our business partners. What's you, Richard?
Thanks, Tope. So yeah, I'm Dr. Richard Goma. I am the product director for Consentua at Know Now Information. We're based down in Portsmouth. So Consentua is the product that's most relevant to UMIS in our portfolio. And Consentua is a sort of a general purpose consent management platform. And by general purpose, I mean it's not just cookies. And in fact, we don't touch internet web cookies at all, really. We help organizations to build systems that collect, check, and respond to people's preferences, including consent in real time. So we're joining up sort of users' preferences with the actual processing that takes place. And of course, as Tope has mentioned, connected mobility systems collect lots of data, they shift it between stakeholders, and they potentially support lots of value-add services over the top, which is why we're interested in collecting that data in the first place. And I suppose there are legal reasons to engage with consent, or at least in some cases the right to object. But I think Tope also mentioned that trust and acceptability reasons are also really strong drivers for giving people clear and meaningful controls over how their personal data is used. And we've always taken that ethos that it's not just about legal compliance, it's about good user experience, it's about building acceptable and trustworthy systems that people don't begrudge having their personal data. So we help organizations to try and engineer themselves around those principles, but we found that to support that, having best practice guidance is really important. We know that actually organizations don't really want to spend a lot of their resource on data governance stuff. It's something that they maybe do because they have to. It's not always being done for the lofty egalitarian reasons we might like. And so it's really important for us to make it easy for them to do the right thing. And I think that's why working with UMIS is so interesting and so important for us. Seeing that data ecosystem mapped out is really important because it's helping us to identify where management infrastructure like Consentua fits into the big picture, sort of in legal and risk terms, but also in terms of things like the user journey, so that we understand where, when someone's interacting with a sort of connected mobility system, they're going to need an interface that asks, what can we do with your data? So brilliant to be involved in UMIS, and I will hand back to Tope.
Yes, thank you very much, Richard. Thank you very much. And so, therefore, you have heard from two of our partners in Muta and also Know Now why they are keen to work with us. So how are we making this possible? So you've heard the why and now the how. So we first start with user requirements. So we get the user requirements from Solent Transport, one of our other partners, and also published scenarios as well. So these are now brought together, and then through that we tease out what are the likely threats. Previously threats within these interactions of these requirements. And then we use tools such as Linden to help us to do that, and also after that we come with data governance frameworks which are developed in joint work with Muta, and through that, after that we develop some models that will help us actually validate and verify the frameworks vis-a-vis the actual the requirements. And Know Now, in terms of Richard and his colleagues, they get the models plus the frameworks, and they also and they use all these in their workflows. So yes, so just to the last slide, these are the team members, and if you have any question during these interactions, just let us know.